Okay guys, so I am going to walk you guys through Unit 3. I put a caveat on the top to let you know that I have switched things around from the syllabus. Due to spring break and everything, I wanted to make this the 3-week unit, the short unit, so that we can have plenty of time for our drama unit in the last 4 weeks. So if you'll look at the lineup, if you will, what I have for you basically is 2 weeks of intensive study and then a full week to pretty much just work on your essay in week 12. So make sure that you're planning accordingly. The works are not difficult, they're short. For example, this is one of the works you're reading, and you see it's 8 lines with about 3 or 4 words per line. So, the works that you read will take you 3 to 5 minutes at most to read them, probably less than that. So I have 19 poems for you to read in this unit. They're not hard, they're not long, and then I'll do a mixture of explanation, video, lecture, whatever. And I'll combine some of them into one. So it's not a lot of work, it's no more than usual. It's just a number of different poems because poems, again, are so short and go so fast that we can cover a bunch of different ones to give you a lot of different options for your essays. So in week 10, if you open that up, you'll see that we have several things set up for you. The first thing I want you to do is to make sure that you create a graphic organizer or note-taking system. So I had you guys submit one from our last unit, and it seemed to really help you guys organize, synthesize all the information. So instead of giving you one this time, I want you guys to come up with one. So what I want you to do is it can be as a Word document or it can be just handwritten, whatever you want to do. In week 12, you're going to submit it. So if it's a Word doc, you can just attach it really easily. Just make a table and then take notes as you go. Or if you do it in handwritten notes, you can just take a screenshot of it and attach that. Either way, you're going to get a grade for that. So it's going to be a completion grade. So we won't be graded on, correctness or anything like that, just that you did take notes on all the works. And then you are going to understand the basics of poetry. So you're going to have a learning module that has just how to break down a poem, poetic terminology. Keep this in mind because this is what I want you to come back to when you get ready to write your essay. There's PowerPoint, there's lots of things to help you that you can save and keep. Then you're going to move on to Romanticism. So if you've never studied Romanticism, it's a literary movement. You have an English model and you have an American model. So you're going to do just a couple of poems from each. You've probably heard of many of these authors: Keats, Byron, Whitman, Frost. You'll do a couple of things with that, and then you'll move on to what I call the turn of the century, because I'm not quite sure how else to group them together. You'll do 3 authors from sort of the turn of the century. You'll do W.H. Auden, D.H. Lawrence, and Dylan Thomas. And all of these have accompanying, you're going to see them talk about how poetry is as much an auditory experience as it is a visual experience. So all of those have readings or clips from movies where those poems have been used, like For Weddings and a Funeral. So you watch that with it. And then you do a blog, and then you'll have a week 10 wrap-up quiz over those materials. So that's your week 10. If you go back to week 11, you are going to start, let me pull it up. You're going to start by what I call stepping back. So this is going to be your classic early modern texts. So you have one from Shakespeare, a short sonnet, 14 lines, and you have a poem by John Donne called The Flea, which you might have heard of. You'll do a blog response, and then I have a few things to help you out. I've tried to embed links or extra auditory resources or things like that for you throughout. So make sure you use what you need to really understand or really get into the poem. And then I have you moving, when you'll go back, you'll go to what I call the moving forward folder. So this is really more the marginalized voices. I've given you 4 poems here. One is We Real Cool by Gwendolyn Brooks, a couple from Langston Hughes, and then the one I just showed you, Red Wheelbarrow by William Carlos Williams. You have some optional recordings to help you out, and that some of those recordings are actually from the authors themselves reading the poems. So if you struggle with poetry, or I've had students say, I don't understand, I just don't get it, or I'm trying, and everything I do, I really can't get into the poems. That's why I've given you a lot of different choices of poetry with different eras, movements, authors, subject matter, to try and help you find at least one or two that are of interest to you. So when you're reading these, I've included these extra resources to help you out. So if there's something you want to know about Harlem Renaissance related to the Weary Blues, go use the resources that I've gave you. I've also like I said, I've given you the audio recordings to really help you get immersed in there. If you can hear the author reading it with the emphasis and the pauses and the background that they intended for it to have, that's an incredible experience. And that's something that can add a whole new layer of meaning to your understanding of the poem. So anyways, you'll do that, and you'll have a discussion board post, and then you will have what I call the unexpected influences folder. So unexpected influences merely the poems that you really never thought of as being poems. So you'll have a piece from the Bible, you'll have a song from Bob Dylan, and then you'll have a really cool poem called The Lost Generation, which is a modern poem, and it messes with the structure of traditional poetry. After that, you'll do another discussion board post where you'll go out and you'll find your own piece and discuss it. The last thing you're going to do in week 11 is open your essay assignment. So I have that at the end. You'll open and save it as a Word doc, and then I've given you a video explanation of a screen grab with me walking through everything that you need to know about the essay. So make sure that you absolutely 100% do that. So that's week 11. And then if we go to week 12, like I said, week 12 is going to be, it's designed for you to have the entire week to pretty much just work on your essay. So I feel like I've given you guys a lot of different resources and a lot of different ways that you can do an essay. And I've had you try a few different ones. Some of them may be for you, some of them may not. But by this point, you should be sort of moving into the groove of figuring out what works for you. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to submit the graphic organizer, note-taking system, whatever it is that you created. You'll submit that for completion grade. That's the first thing. Then you'll do a week 12 unit wrap-up quiz over the whole unit. So have your book handy because I've put page numbers and things in the quiz to help you out. And then you'll do a quick discussion board of brainstorming. And then from there, you're going to have the rest of the week to work. So you have an optional critiques link. So I put a link in there to a discussion board. If you found the partner critiques particularly helpful, so you found a partner who you worked really well with or who has some great insights, you could reach out to them and say, hey, I'm just having trouble on this one part. Can you look at it? Or, hey, I'll read yours if you read a bit of mine. If you didn't have a great experience with your partner or a partner who didn't post or something like that, you can also use that link to just find somebody else. Say you have a classmate that you know, or even just a random person that you think has had some really good insights on the discussion boards. You could reach out to them and just say, hey, I'm having trouble on this part of my essay. Would you mind taking a look at it? And that's what you guys should be doing. You guys should be really utilizing your partner resources as much as possible. And then the last thing you're going to do is you are going to submit your essay in the usual manner. You'll go to the Essays tab, open it, attach, save, assign, check yes, all that good stuff. So your essay is due on Sunday, 4/12 at midnight. So that's 3 weeks from now. And then after that, we will be moving on to our last unit, which is our drama unit. So hopefully you guys get into the poetry unit. For those of you, I think many of you said this was the genre that you were least familiar with or least comfortable with. Some of you said you were poets, so I hope you guys enjoy this as well. But for those who aren't used to it or those who maybe struggle with it in the past, see if you can really find at least one area, genre, movement, author, something that intrigues you. So that's my goal for you guys in this this unit. As always, if you have questions, let me know. Otherwise, you guys will do a great job.